Hello and welcome to our stories. This is a show courtesy of ICAS Kenya and Total Wellness International. Here we get to hear real life stories on issues mental health. We also get to meet real people who have been there and have overcome. We will also get expert guidance on topics related to the same. Today our topic is addiction and gambling. We have a special guest here who will share his experience, his story and what he has been through, and he will also tell us where he is right now.
Thank you. So my name is Mark. I was born and brought up in Murang'a County in a family of 6. My dad, mom and my 3 older sisters. And basically from when I was young to when I was around class 7, class 8, my grandfather took care of me, took me to school with my mom now, took me to school, paid all his fees, and my dad then was an alcoholic up to 2004 when he went to a Sumbi Rehabilitation Center. He has been sober since then. So I was quite notorious from when I was young. The people I hung around were those ones who you wouldn't be wanted to be with in the village. Basically because my mom wasn't there. She was always hustling to make sure that we go to school, my sisters and I. My mom specifically would leave at 3 or 4, buy milk from the villagers and then take it to Nairobi, come back in the evening at 10 or 11. And my dad, on the other hand, was in drinking sprees from morning to evening and come back either beaten, either, you know, we saw a lot. My grandfather beating my dad in front of me. So basically I never had a role model when growing up. Only my grandfather who applied that old tough love, which I always went against. You know, I never wanted to go to school, never wanted to do these things. My mom, on the other hand, took care of me more than the girls. Took me to the academy schools, good schools. And around class 8, that's when my dad now came back, you know, started paying school fees. Then I started lying about my grades, then only to realize during the KCPE that I had scored 319, which to my dad wasn't the right kind of marks for me, for a person of my caliber. So he decided that I have to repeat, which I was against. But I had to repeat anyway, with younger people than me. Took me to a boarding school then, back in 2009. And I never wanted that. So first term, I was okay. Best in a class all through. But when it came to second term, I started buying drugs. Sometimes I don't even want to use it. I just want to oppose any rule in the system, just because I don't want what my dad is doing. I remember one day he came to school, never left any money to me, and he found me at home, and the teachers were like, "Is this a Mark we know?" So that's how it started. So I only added 3 marks after repeating high school, primary school. Got to be invited to the same school I was invited to. And when I was in high school, you know, I started visiting my sister who was at the University of Nairobi, my second born sister, and I was like motivated to go there. So first, Form 1, Form 2, I wasn't into reading. I wasn't into studying. I was always scoring A's. Up to Form 3 where nobody wanted anything to do with me. My uncles, my aunts, they thought I would end up like my dad, you know. And so I was on my own and I had to give all I had. So I studied and got a good grade, a B+ in Form 4. By then I knew I was even born again, you know, I was a church guy. I was going to see you at church. I remember at that time we had migrated. We had gone all the way to Banana where my dad used to work at Sumbi Rehab, the same rehab he went to. So we used to live there, and that's why I got to know now the Nairobi life and new friends. But I wasn't mixed up at all. I was in a church and I was a good guy back then, hanging around good people who were always telling me to do the good things, you know. We were motivated to be rich, to be successful men in the society. So that's how we used to stay all the way in the library, learning about all these rich moguls in the world, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, all these guys, man. And I was motivated to be like them. So we started doing some, I remember HTML, Java codes, you know, all these things, trying to motivate ourselves all the way up to 2014 when I got into 2015 when I went into campus, University of Nairobi first year. I used to live in the hostels then, but most of the time I wasn't there during the first year because we were still in Banana. So I used to go home in the evening or over the weekends. So, and the friends I found specifically in the room I went to, are not the good friends, you know. So they used to go to town all the time, and I was like, where are you going every evening, you guys? And at that time, you know, SportPesa was a wave in Kenya, you know, it was starting to grow. I started gambling, sports betting, because there are so many types of gambling. So I started with sports betting. I wasn't hooked into that. So one day we walked into town, a casino called City Casino. I don't know what it's called nowadays, but the name was changed before I quit. And that's where now I started gambling, sports betting. You know, those machines, you would incur the M-Pesa charges. So one day as we were going out to the casino with a friend of mine, I realized there were machines down there, only to realize that these were slot machines. I found an old mzee, slightly the age of my grandfather, who I gave 500 shillings, and in a minute the money was quadrupled, 1,500 in a minute. So I was like, went to school for my roommates, all these other guys telling them, you know, this is where people get money. So these guys with Range Rovers and all these things, they get money from the casinos, from this slots machine. But I never knew that this was now the start of my problems, you see. And I started going with my roommate, but after some time for him, he quit. He started telling me that thing is not good. We used to get money for supper, money for anything I wanted. Up to now, I remember that long holiday I went to my sister's place. It was very nice. Never wanted anything to do with casino. But when I came back for my second year, back in 2016, after some period of time, I started going again because I was now into partying, into these other friends, and I needed a lot of money to live such kind of a lifestyle. So I would go to the casino, win, live this kind of a lifestyle, and started now getting hooked up to it. And my sisters were like, you know, and my family were like, where do you take all the money we give you? Because I will live at my sister's place at Ruiru over the weekend. On Monday, I'm like, I want to go straight to school, but first get into the casino, lose all the money that she gave me to survive the whole week. And the whole week now I'm asking money from requesting for some money from other people. So they realized I had a problem. Back then I told them that I had a problem, but they called me a fool, you know. They were like, how do you take your money to that kind of a place? People didn't understand how somebody can be hooked up to gambling, you know, because maybe they thought it was sports betting, and for me it's this, you know, they're called roulette. There's some other machines called the Gaminator. And back in 2016 now, I remember 2017 now, we went for a long holiday. The long holidays were big because sometimes there would be demonstrations and then they are extended. So I remember working for my uncle for 3 months. And then giving me the whole amount and my school fees, and I gambled it away in a casino in Westlands. And that's when all the problem started, because my sisters were like, send us the receipt for the school fees. And I switched off the phone for the whole week, you know, and they were like, so come out, this is where you're taking our money. I used to quit for like 1 month or 2, and then they would be okay when I quit. Because, you know, when you quit, I quit, I'm that guy who send money, I'm the best, you know, I'm doing everything right. But when I go back to that thing, it used to take everything away from me. So I remember back in 2018, let me push it forward to 2019. That's a problem. 2018, I remember I had lost a lot. Sold my clothes, sold my laptop, sold my phones. I never used to even have a phone by then, because I used to take it to the Shylock. Then the time is due, they sell it. So 2018, I went to a friend of mine whom I used to see go to church when we were in campus. So I asked him, you know, well, I just want somewhere to go, like a church or something. Somewhere I can just, I mean, I want to change this kind of lifestyle because it's taken away from me. My family has its own being, nobody wants to do anything with me. So we went to St. Andrew's church in around University Way. And there I went, we started going for missions, you know, and I told the pastor there, the youth pastor, and he was like, you know, this is the right place for you. After some time, I started going to these places because I was around the right kind of people. I even found a girlfriend there, you know, and, but I feel like I jumped, I went far. I never waited to know more about God and to do what God wants me to do. Like I rushed, you see, I rushed into getting into relationships. I rushed into even moving out from the hostel, going on to stay on my own. You see, instead of now getting into church, saving, paying debts, changing my character defects which I had developed, like lying, see, but I rushed into getting into relationships, which, you know, if you're an addict and you rush into that kind of things, they will drain you emotionally, and it's so easy to relapse. So for like 2 months I quit. I even opened a very famous group back then. And we were even given the church buses to go. We used to go to villages to preach about addiction. I remember back then. Even we even invited the MP of our area. So many kids came and we taught them about all these kinds of addiction. Because for me, I never knew that gambling was bad when I was growing up. I knew alcohol was bad. That's why I never indulged into drugs, because of what they had done to my dad. But for gambling, I had. So I was like, any other young kid from the village may think that if I come to Nairobi, that's where greener pastures are. So why not tell this young kid, you know, these kind of things are in town. The bangi, which is viewed here as a taboo or something worse than that, in Nairobi they just use it like the way cigarettes are used in the village. So we broke up with that girl back then. You know, she was, you know, the lifestyle, I couldn't cope up with it back then because, you know, I didn't have enough money because I'm still in school and she was in Strathmore, you know, so many issues came up and we broke up. I was emotionally drained. I never even used to sleep, even reading. And I found myself back into the casino, emotionally drained. And that's where guilt started. I immediately jumped into another relationship from someone else in the church. And she was like, you know, I'm going to go with you through, I'm going to stand by you no matter what. She was nice, she was there for me. But I don't know whether I used it as a way to move on from the other relationship. You see? So I'm moving from problem to problem. So we were in a relationship. Now I'm in church. The same people I told I had quit gambling, now they know that I'm back into it, guilt, all this. So I decided one day back in 2019, when start of 2019, I have to die tonight. So I was in the casino that day. I took my phone. I had some friends who I went telling, you know, this is the last time you're seeing me. They thought it was jokes, or they never understood what I was talking about. I posted on Facebook, you know, these famous guys or intelligent guys who have committed suicide on my WhatsApp status. Everybody saw, man, I'm going to die today. I had decided fully that I want to commit suicide. And you know, when suicide comes into you, you are like, there's nothing else you think about. But for me, I knew I had a dream, I had something in me which was being taken away by my addiction. But on the other hand, I felt like if I die, there are people who will quit gambling because of that. So I went into the casino that day, sold my phone, sold everything away. Then I was left with some amount of money. So people were looking for me that whole night. I used to live back then on Thika Road, around Zimmerman, around there. Nobody knew, most of the people never knew where I was living, apart from some two friends of mine who were always there for me. So that night I left the casino at around 2 a.m. No shop was open. I had decided I'm going to first use Red Rat. If it doesn't work, I'm going to think of something else. So I waited up to the morning. Some friend came, banged the door the whole morning. I never answered, and he left. Only to realize that he had gone to call other friends so that he can come and break the door. So I went, bought some Red Rat, and I was there sitting on that table. And then I started reading the instructions, and they were like, I don't know, they can choke you if you drink it. You know, these are supposed to be for the rats. And I started fearing, you know. I was like, let me burn this whole building. And then I realized that is not me. What about the kids in this building? So I was like, I have to find something possible. So that's why I started Googling about drugs like potassium cyanide, you know, used by kidnappers to kill people back then, you see. But that didn't work at that time. My family came all the way. Whole family, they came, they supported me, they paid all my debts that I had accrued because of the gambling. People from church, they were there, supported me. My grandfather came all the way and he had injuries that time, I remember, because he was around 80 something. So the legs had started developing some problems. So they came all the way with my grandmother. I remember him praying for me when kneeling down. And they were like, that's the end of gambling in him. So I went, did the examinations the whole week, the end of semester examinations, because I was my final year first semester. And the exams were being done then. And after 2 weeks, a friend of mine, an old friend of mine came to me and said, you know, we had 60,000 fake money. And we took some of this money and entered them in the machines in the casinos, and we were able to get it. So I went one day to City Casino again to take the old fake money. That's how I got burnt there, but that's how I went back again. Now this time I went back full time. I was trying even suicide, but it wasn't working. I remember even one day my girlfriend finding me on the floor, having taken the Red Rat. And you know, I had vomited all the food. I had vomited water, air. Now what the doctors told me, the next thing you vomit is blood, and that's how you die. So I was rushed into the hospital that time. Then another day I went to see a psychiatrist to give me antidepressants. I remember about 28 tablets which I took once. But God loved me because the only thing I used to do the following day was only yawning. Not much problem. You see, some yawning which was weird, you know. And I tried all these times. And what I've come to realize is that sometimes I would even lie to my sister, you know, I have to commit suicide if you don't send me money. Manipulation as an addict, you know, addicts were manipulative. So I used to call her, you know, and they will feel like, hey, Mark, you still have a purpose, take this 2,000. She doesn't know I want to go gamble, but I already manipulated her. My mother, I call her, she's crying, you know, whatever you want, we'll do it, don't commit suicide. But you know, the thing is, with the, you know, it's like that lady who used to scream all the time that there is some lion which is attacking me, and then the villagers come and they find no lion. They will just come 4-3 times and they will realize you are just joking with us. And then one time the lion will come and nobody will be there. It happened the same way for me. I remember one day when I called my sister and told her, you know, it was on a Friday and I asked for some money. She sent me 100 shillings and told me, that's the only amount I can send you because I know it's on a Friday and you won't go party or go into those machines which adore you, those devilish, you used to call them, those devilish places you go to. Then she said, if you want to commit suicide, well and good, commit, because as we have done whatever we needed to do, so if you want to commit, that's your own problem. And that's when I realized, wow, if my sister can tell me this, then I'm on my own. And that's how you start developing anger and hatred and resentment towards kind of people who have been there for you. But the only thing I'm looking at is just this one time, that these people hate me, these people don't love me, I'm on my own. And that's how I went on back again to my addiction. I remember after completing university around June 2019, we were supposed to graduate on 2019 December 20. So during this time, that's when you start looking for internships, jobs. So I got a job at a company called Safe Border. And it was a good job because they trusted me. I had quit that gambling for about 1 month or so. But when I was walking around that DOD area, you know, I realized a new casino that I've never seen, which was called Phoenix, found some Chinese. It was a high-class casino. Went and started winning some money, and I was back again, full-time. And at that time, my sister had told me, when completing campus, that come live with us. But I refused, because, you know, I never wanted that restricted life. So I started living with a friend of mine who was definitely different from what I was doing. Most of the friends I had were different from what I was doing. For him, he was so focused with life, but on the other hand, I started gambling. And one day he was like, you know, you have to go do it on your own. Tough love. Now everybody's playing tough love. My girlfriend offered me a place, but after some time, I did something bad to my friend of mine, who I sold the phone he had given me to go sell for him because I was good in sales. So he was so mad at me, and that's when I rushed all the way to my uncle's place, because I couldn't call my sister or my parents, and told my uncle, tell my sisters or anybody else that I want to check into a rehab. After some few weeks, we went all the way to Limuru in a rehab called Levuka Treatment Center, and I was there. 10th October, it was is it Mashujadi? 10th October. That's how I checked into a rehab. Spent my time there for 3 months. So so 3 months, which meant I was to leave rehab 2020 January, date 10. So I told my uncle I will risk it all. I will risk that graduation for my own recovery, because I realized if I don't recover, I'm losing everything. So my girlfriend then was okay with me going to rehab. She's the one that day she took me with my cousin and my uncle and my sister. But my sister never talked to me at all the way to rehab. But I didn't know that she was the one who was actually to pay. But they were so angry at me, my 3 sisters. My parents weren't that much angry with me. They knew I had a second chance. My sisters had now gotten to a point where they were tired of me. Like they wanted to apply that tough love. So spend time for the 3 months. It was most of these rehabs are drugs and rehabilitation centers. So drugs and narcotics, which narcotics is the cocaine and the bang. But now I had to risk and go there and also say, for the 3 months, I stayed there. most of these people I found no gambler there. Actually, I was in a way the first one to ever go to that place as a gambler. But I applied the same program because it's called the Alcoholic Anonymous program, but we have a Gamblers Anonymous program. So if it says that I accepted that I am powerless and my life has become unmanageable because of alcoholism, I would just eliminate alcoholism and put in gambling. And that's how I did it. Like I had to use whatever was there. And again, I realized, you know, every time I lost in the casinos, and you know, these people give you free meals, free taxi services, whatever you want in the casino will be given. So that you can, they don't even have windows. Or even, you may stay from the casino from 10 p.m. all the way up to morning, and you don't even know that it's morning or it's at night, because the place is kept in a way that you won't realize that because you're being given food, snacks, tea, anything you want. So you can use all your amount, all the money you have in your bank or anywhere, knowing that you're going to be taken home, you're going to have supper. You see, that's their way of doing these things. And even in the casino, if you win, you can deposit money. The only services they have is withdrawing money. Because they want to drain all your pockets and your accounts. So anyway, I stayed there for 3 months. And for the first month, my sisters refused to come, and I was so angry at them. I was so resentful. So they came in when the third month was about to come to an end. And they were there telling me, you know, we're going to support you, come live at my place when you're out. And that's why I went and lived after I came out of rehab. And so many people are very happy with me. And after leaving rehab, I still harbored some resentments and anger, specifically to my sisters and my brothers-in-laws, whom I thought that they were always, you know, there are words which I was being told which were true. Like one day I was told by my brother-in-law, if you die, it's not us who are dying, it's you, so die. In reality, this is true. But as an addict, I wanted to show that they were the ones at the wrong, not me. You see? So I wanted to pick at the smallest mess and make sure that I utilize that so that people can see that the problem has not been Mark, but my brothers-in-laws and my sisters. You see? And that's what happens to an addict. So I went all the way, started living life, you know, and my girlfriend motivated me, and I also motivated myself, and I was like, you know, I have now to live, not survive. You know, I used to survive. Now I had to live. I had to avoid gambling at all cost for the rest of my life. I also decided that I'm going to avoid drugs, any kind of drug, because there's something we call cross addiction. I would get into any drug very soon. My main motivation was to go back. I used to do psychology and economics. So my main motivation was to go on with psychology. And I felt like this was a way that God was using me to make sure that addiction is in a way our society comes to addiction free. I started going into Nakada. I remember one day knocking the CEO's door and telling him, you know, I want to work with Nakada, and he was like, you know, give us some time. And yeah, so back then I realized, you know, I need to survive in Nairobi. Again, I can't leave my sister's place all the time. So I remember walking all the way to Gikomba because I had applied jobs, and then the Corona was there last year. So I went into Gikomba market, and God works in ways. When I was at Gikomba market, these people trusted in me. I used to be given money, go buy bills, and that's how I furnished my house fully. And up to this year, around February, when I realized, you know, Mark, this might not be the calling for you. Sometimes I was involved in lying. I had to lie. I had to lie to these people, you know, if they want a bail, because me, I was dealing with bills, and I knew where they are, so my work was broken. So in the morning, you find I've broke 5 bills. So if I know I'm I used to live at Kasarani. So if I know I'm at Kasarani leaving the door, and these are customers calling at 5 a.m. in the morning, I will lie that I'm around Muthaiga. So that was not the life I wanted. I knew easily it would trigger me back into that. So I had written a book which was only supposed to be published and edited. So I went all the way, started applying for jobs in rehabs. And God works in miracles. I got a job in a rehab. And that's where I've been working from then, working with fellow addicts. And there's so much joy when I see, specifically nowadays, I don't want to mention name because of anonymity. Yeah, I see like the rehab, I have now handled 2 cases of gambling. And any case which comes in for gambling in the rehab, these other counselors are like, Mark, these guys are okay with you. I remember even some other rehabs were calling me, telling me, come see our guy on a weekend. There are so many things I'm looking at. We have Alcoholics Anonymous. We have Narcotics Anonymous in Kenya. They started all the way from 1934 in other countries. Our country, they are there and there are meetings. And Alcoholics Anonymous is a meeting of just like a meeting the way we are here. A meeting of 2 to 3 people, even 10. People who are addicts or somebody who is an addict. There are people who are helped with these meetings. They don't even go to rehabs. But when it comes to Gamblers Anonymous, it came to an end like 5 years ago because people used to come into this meeting thinking that this is a place where people we are going to be bailed out because you know gamblers are people who owe a lot of money to people. So that's why we don't have Gamblers Anonymous meetings in Kenya. So right now I have to go to meetings, to online meetings from South Africa. And that's where now I know so many people from there, but we have never met. But I know them. I know guys who have been 20 years sober, 10 years sober, who give me motivation all the day. And they tell me, you know, 20 years ago I was in debts, I was thinking of suicide, but now look at me, I'm 20 years sober now. Then in these meetings, like the other day, a guy comes in and says, you know, I've been sleeping in the car. I was chased away from my mom's place because with my wife and kids, I gambled our house, I gambled everything we had. I only have a car where I'm sleeping now. This again gives me motivation to keep on moving. So my main motivation is to open one in Kenya. Again, there is some anonymity. We don't keep on going, but at least I feel like I want to know maybe more and more of what God wants me to do, or what God has in me, and whatever I went through. I have tried suicide all these times, but looking at it, I feel like some of us, if we can just remove that suicidal thinking in us, we will go far. Because the moment you start thinking that I have to commit suicide one day, that's the more you continue drinking. Because after all, you drink knowing that tomorrow I will die. I will continue gambling knowing that, after all, I will find the easier way. And you know, an addict wants the easier, softer way. But now, you know, change is painful. Remaining the same is painful. You see, if I am to change nowadays, I still have comments from out there. You know, we don't believe, Mark, that you will never gamble. Which, to them, it's true. Maybe to them they think so because of the things I did to them. So it's my choice whether to abuse them and tell them you are sent by Satan. No, I just laugh and knowing if at all I know that I'm not going to go back, then why should that piss me off? Sometimes my dad will wake up and say, you know, you did this and this to my money, to your school fees, and I'll be like, you know, Dad, or even keep quiet, knowing it's true I did bad things to him. Why should I get pissed off? And he's talking the truth. And there's one thing my grandfather told me before he died this year. He told me, Mark, if something still affects you, it means you haven't healed from it. So, I don't know. I have dealt with so many cases, like 30 clients from when I started this, and I realized that we have a big issue when it comes to mental health and addiction. And I do pray that we can be willing to go through that pain of change, because remaining the same is painful. Staying stuck, going forward is painful. So we have to choose our pain. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Addiction.
Yeah.
And gambling.
Yeah.
It's very few people who can put the two together. Normally, gambling people assume, and now that it has become the new thing, especially in our country, people, and we included, assume that they are very separate. But you're telling us that it came from somewhere. And it was a way for you to escape your pain, because as you are winning, you're feeling that you're getting more. And as you're gambling, you're feeling that you're not able to think through what is going on in the real sense from being a child. And you're telling us that during childhood, you just did truant behavior as a rebellion. Tell us, during that period that you are rebelling and consciously knowing that you're rebelling, how were you feeling as a person, as a child, as an adolescent? You are here rebelling the authority of your father, who has not been there.
It just gave me more power, you know, and I'm doing what I felt like I'm more powerful, like I am better, like I'm more intelligent to be pushed into going back to school again, which I used to see from, I used to feel like these are the people of average. Why should I do what they're doing? Why should I go back to school for class 8 to an exam which is supposed to be ABCD? So I was just doing this to show that I was more intelligent. I'm not supposed to go back there. But
more in control?
Yeah, more in control. Yeah. And basically, when I'm in addiction, gambling, we start with gambling to get money. And there are people who gamble for fun. The difference with us who are addicts is that we gamble for that thrill. When that, you know, if you walk into the casino, it's a spin. There is a dealer who spins a ball and then it lands on numbers from 0 to 36. When that ball is spinned, there is a thrill. And we don't gamble for money as gamblers. We gamble to get that thrill. Somebody else might come and gamble for fun, and then when they lose some kind of money, they leave. Same thing when it comes to alcoholism. Somebody will say, I'm going to drink just 2 bottles. And when they drink those 2 bottles, they are out of that place. Somebody can even store alcohol in the house for 6 months without drinking it. But when it comes to an alcoholic will know it's 11 a.m. in the morning on a Monday, and if I drink, I'm going to mess up my job. But because we are people who make impulsive decisions as addicts, they will still drink knowing very well I'm going to mess up. An alcoholic will know I'm messing up my relationship, and my wife told me, if you do this again, we are divorcing. But I will still drink because it's an addiction. Yeah.
Just say, let me just drink one, probably they won't know.
Yeah.
And then you just let me add a bit.
Yeah. Actually, we say one drink is 1,000, and 1,000 will never be enough. You drink one, you'll continue doing it. That's why somebody who is in recovery is told, avoid the first bet, avoid the first drink, because you take that one drink, you never stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that betting and gambling gave you as well control that you have been seeking? Because
Pardon?
you're in control of putting the bets.
When I was gambling,
Yeah.
those were the thinking that come into my mind, that I can win. I just want one more win. Those are actually the phrases I had. Even when my friends I remember one time my friends were beating me in town. They had been sent by my sisters to beat me to go back to school. But I was there telling them, I just want to win that jackpot. And then I'm out of these casinos. But the thing is, I saw somebody one day win 7 million. And they left the place with 0 shillings. Because like I told you, it's not about the money, it's about the thrill. You see? So actually, if you read the statistics, the other day I was reading some statistics, that 70% of the people in the world who have won jackpots have gone bankrupt. Because this is unplanned money. In the Bible, in the book of, is it Solomon? Is there a book like Solomon? Yes, there's a book
written by Solomon.
Yes, so there's a book, Proverbs, sorry. Proverbs says that this easy money, he'll come and go. And a wise man must work hard, but the other person now wants this easy money. It's easy money which was unplanned, and you are an addict, and maybe God doesn't want this. Imagine if everybody survived with gambling. Would we have inventions? Would we have these great companies bringing a change in the country? People would always be waking up, showering, and going to the casinos thinking they're going, or placing those sports bets. So that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's reflect a bit on your childhood.
Yeah.
You were the only son, the last born son amongst sisters.
Yeah.
And so they had you kind of protected.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Your mom was giving you special treatment.
Yeah.
Your sisters were just treated average.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel, considering that your mother was struggling?
Yes. So thank you. When it comes to my sisters, they were always fighting me. They were always, I was notorious. So I always wanted to show that I'm a man here. I'm the man, but they were stronger and they were older. Like the one my third born sister, because I'm the fourth born, is 6 years older than me. So definitely they were stronger. And up to when we were old, we kept on fighting, specifically with the third born one. And my life has always been of fighting. From from back then up to maybe when that thought of suicide came in, where I felt like I'd given up. But before then, I always thought, I never ever thought of committing suicide. But in a way, gambling thought made me feel like I need to commit suicide. But even living with my sisters, I felt like she's not supposed to be telling me this. You know, she had rules in her house, don't come here after 7. You are my sister and I'm the man, you know, I'm the only man. Why should you tell me to come? You see, so most of these things, I just did them to. And I remember one day telling my sister, you are not sending me money. Okay, so if I get arrested with selling bang, okay, don't worry about that. Yeah, so that's how it has turned into. Like, I always did everything to show my sisters that I am the man and I am stronger. Yeah.
And is that true?
No. To me, I might be stronger, I might be the man, but gambling, abusing them, taking their money, that doesn't show the man in me. That doesn't prove that I'm the stronger and I'm the, you see, if I would be telling them, you know, my mom is there in hospital, don't pay the money, you know, I'm the man here, you know, let me do this and this for you, my sisters. If I'm shielding them from all other issues, I don't give them the pain. You see, it doesn't mean that it's all about money, yes. Like I'm here giving my sister money, but just giving them peace of mind, which is very important. Then sleeping, knowing that Mark has progressed in life, is working hard, has good relationships, you see. Because I remember even my sister one day called a friend of mine and told my friend, you know, why does Mark keep on doing this? Does he even know that I also have a daughter who should be my priority now? And she was crying, which I've never seen my sister do. She has never cried in front of me or even, but she cried talking to that friend of mine. And in reality, they might show you tough love, but deep inside them, they have so much love and they don't know what to do. You see, but if I was that guy who was always good in school, doing the right things, I remember my sister taking me to school, taking me to the CU. It was called MCCU in campus. And these guys were calling me all the time, and I was always in the alcohol. And one day they found me drunk, and from that day I don't know why they never called me again to join their CU, just because my sister was in CU. You see, so if I joined CU, if I did these things, I believe they would be at peace. And doing those bad things, trying to prove that I am a man, in the end I'm the one who go through a lot of problems.
Okay. So let's talk about the period you started serious gambling. What were you feeling at that time? And when you lose and you get out of that casino at 2 a.m., what were you thinking?
Pain. Pain. You know, you enter the casino very happy, ambitious, knowing you are going to. I used to even carry a bag, knowing that if I win, I'm going to put that money in this bag. But when I'm leaving, I don't even want anybody to see me. I'm broke as hell. I don't even know. I have gambled up to the last coin. I remember I would be in the casino. I've lied to people. Then my dad sends me some little money for supper. I know very well I haven't eaten from yesterday's supper. But instead of going to some nearby restaurant and fast eat, then come gamble, I would gamble the money thinking that I would double it and then have some good meal and then have some other meal tomorrow. So be left with some money, but lose it all. And then in 2 days I'm surviving gumus and bad life. It was all about pain. It was painful life. A life where you can save nothing, a life where you can have nothing with you, because no phone, no nothing. Yeah.
So how were you coping with this pain?
But like I said, I started now getting into drugs, but I've never been attached into drugs. I just used drugs as a way of running away from my issues, which now as a counselor, now I can learn that most of us get addicted because of issues, so many issues. There are people who abuse drugs and there are people who are addicted to drugs. Me, I was abusing them. The people you see in clubs who will still go to work on Monday are abusing drugs. But there is this period from drug abuse to drug addiction. The period from drug abuse to drug addiction is where either you have a job loss. There are people who get addicted because of a job loss, and there is so much pain in losing a job, so they start getting addicted. There are people who get addicted because of divorce. I would be addicted because of the losses in the casino, because of this addiction in the casino. So very soon I was going straight into this drugs addiction. I remember walking into Givenchy, smoking Givenchy, and it was a trend for me. You see, I remember I had a goal, like, and I even had some quotes. I'd rather die enormous than live dormant. That was my biggest quote. Yeah, rather die enormous than live dormant. I don't want to live lazy, broke, poor. So I decided to go for this big way. And at that time, even if you told me to sell drugs, I would. Yeah.
Just to get money to feed the addiction.
To get into the casino. And now I started gambling even in these high-end casinos where you find Chinese people who are rich people. And I remember one day telling, I won't mention, I used to find celebs in these casinos who, some of them, we follow them so much. And then I'm like telling my sister, even this guy goes to gamble. And she's like, you know, these are people who have already developed their lives, they had wives, they have houses, they just go there maybe for fun. But you, what have you done with your life? But I never used to take that into consideration.
I heard you mention job loss, and you just mentioned it again. Tell us about what happened. You got a job, then what happened?
What happened is that these guys trusted me so much. They were actually raising my position from a sales guy to a finance guy in the company. So they gave me a new laptop, which I took the Shylocks and lost it that way. And that's how I lost that job. That job, you see? And to a gambler, most of these gamblers don't go to work because they are like, I can earn that amount of money, which I can earn in 2 minutes in the casino when gambling. Why go to work for a whole month, for 30 days, to get something I can get in 10 minutes? So most of them are lazy. Most of us were lazy. We never used to go to work knowing very well that you're paying me something which I can get in 10 minutes. But in reality, these are it's dreams which cannot be achieved. Because even if I win all this money, I will still go back. Yeah.
To get more.
To get more. And this more will never be enough. So I'll go back again tomorrow. And then in the end, I can even go win good money, go buy some items, which I'm going to now sell tomorrow to gamble when this other money is gone. So you can see that cycle, vicious cycle of gambling and poverty. Yeah.
At any time during the whole period, did you ever feel remorse? Yes, you felt guilty, but did you ever feel remote, regretful?
Yes, which now was leading me into suicide. Yeah, which was leading me into quitting sometimes. But for a very short period, then I find myself back. But you know why most of us quit and still go back? Because gambling is not about the money. It's about these character defects. I have developed anger towards myself, which I need to work on because I now hate myself. The self-image I have towards myself is I hate myself. I feel like I'm a loser. But in reality, I'm not a bad person. It's just that the things that I have gotten from gambling are making me look bad. Again, I've become a liar, a big liar, big liar. Because I would even lie to some people used to study in high school. I sell shoes, they send money, I block them. Go gamble. After gambling now, that's when I remember the consequence of what I did. I remember sometimes I was even arrested at one police station because of trying to steal some fund from the casino, just to gamble. It's not that I want that money to do anything. So the thing is, I felt some remorse, but I did nothing about that. You see? The thing is, right now I have to work daily. There are some things I have to do every day. I have to attend meetings. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there is a meeting. Every day, 2 hours, from 7 to 9. The ones I won't be able, I have to attend. They are online meetings from South Africa. We have no meetings in Kenya because that's our dream to start one. But I know people who are addicted and now they are sober who want to start this. But we have to attend these meetings. In these meetings now, that's where we start learning about gambling. What is the mindset of a gambler? What is the dream world of a compulsive gambler? Because a gambler has a dream world. They think of winning, spending cash on their families, taking them to Dubai, taking them to good places without working hard for them. But in reality, it's not about money. It's about this character defect. So if you are a gambler out there thinking that you are just going to quit gambling and everything else is going to be okay, or if you are an alcoholic thinking that your only issue is alcoholism, you are going to go back very soon. You have to work on yourself. You have to work on your relationships. You have to apologize to all these people. You have to pay back the money. I had to work for some few months last year. You know, I'm waking up so early, sending money to people I owed when I was in addiction. Yeah, because until you feel that pain of paying debts that you may never want to go back into. But if it happens that my family is the one paying for me the debts, then I will still go back because I didn't feel any pain. Yeah, that's why even when our parents come to me, and you realize most of these people who relapse are the people who, I took my items to the Shylock, my dad came and took them from the Shylock and paid everything. Took me to rehab. Doesn't even just tell me, Kababar, by daddy, just go to rehab and everything will be okay. I will still gamble knowing that there is somebody who will take. You see, that is now enabling. Enabling is facing the consequences on behalf of the addict instead of letting the addict face the consequences. Yeah, so I felt some remorse, but I did nothing about it. But which is different now. I will feel some remorse, some guilt. I may feel like I'm behind in a way. But I will know, I will not sit down and start crying and thinking of suicide. I will sit down and ask myself, what can I do better to improve my future? That's the difference. Yeah.
Is it because the suicide was an attempt to escape?
Yes, suicide, anybody who commits suicide, they don't want to do that 100%. And for me, it was a way to run away from my issues and to manipulate people around me. Those were the two reasons. If somebody hears that I'm about to commit suicide, they run definitely to me.
To rescue you.
To rescue me. If my girlfriend wanted to leave me and then they hear that I want to commit suicide, they won't. So I will use that as a way to keep them. But for how long? That's the question. Yeah.
Until somebody told you to actually commit suicide.
Who is very close to me, my sister.
And
that's when I realized now you Mark. I remember even one day I was supposed to meet my dad in town. Then I was arrested the night before because of being out in the dark and we were drunk. Then I called my dad and told him I'm in the police station. And he was like, were we supposed to meet in the police station or in town? When you are out, tell me where we will meet. He never even cared about coming to the police station to take me. That's when I realized, wow, now I'm on my own. I stayed in that place for 2 weeks and actually the police were telling me now, even your people don't want you. What are we doing with you here? Yeah. But the thing is, I left there and went directly to the casino. That's how bad addiction is. Yeah.
At any point, did you relate your addiction to your dad's addiction? Because addiction is addiction. It is the same process.
It is the same thing. It is the same thing. I was irresponsible as the dad I used to see back then. Not during these 17 years. Back then, I was that much irresponsible. I would even sell my clothes or even a mattress. And I know very well I need that mattress in the evening. So it was totally similar to his or to any other addict. We have same similarities. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at you using, you said you're using substance, but you say you're reflecting on your dad's behavior and trying to avoid.
Yeah.
But again, you are still an addict on this other edge.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the same.
How did that make you feel?
Now really I was feeling worse. My mom used to call me. I remember one time my mom calling me and telling me, now you want to end up like your dad. And I was so bitter. I even crashed that phone. I was like, why should you tell me like I ended up like my dad? You see, unconsciously I know that this is so bad. But on the other hand, I don't even know how to stop it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you are recovering.
Yeah.
How is it going?
It's very nice, at least you can have money in your pocket. You can walk around town and in these other areas without being tempted to get there. You can now even call somebody and tell them this is happening and they will help you without thinking that you are back into the casino. I have relationships now which are more better. The relationship with your girlfriend is better. I mean, I'm now viewing things as a normal person should do. Not the way I used to. I might have problems, yes, but I don't think I will now get to a point where I feel like committing suicide, which was my way of running away from these issues. And I've realized actually, this thing has come to help me in a big way. I'm stronger now. I had a breakup, after rehab and all that stuff last year. The thing is, if it was me in the past, I would go into drinking or gambling to try to numb these feelings. But right now, at least I'm strong. I will view this. Maybe God never wanted me to be that person. Maybe this is a time for me to be alone and improve myself. Maybe this is a time for me to be, because God is preparing me for somebody better, for someone better. You see, such kind of thinkings which were totally different from the past where I would view it it's the other person. I mean, why should they leave me? I mean, they were aggressive, they were this and this. I never used to sit down and ask myself, I've been in 5 relationships. Why am I leaving all these 3 relationships? I'm trying to let other people face the consequences for me, for my actions, instead of me. Like, I feel like I have to be in love to survive. You see? So right now, and the thing is, specifically on that area of relationships, we attract who we are. So the moment I feel like there are no good ladies left, that shows who I am. I am a bad person, and because of the people I hang around, that's why I believe there are no good ladies left. But if I can change myself and become a better person, that's when I will start having perceptives like I'm a good person, I will get a good person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's just finish with you and the process of recovery, the process of addiction, the process of just use and abuse. And there's this person struggling, trying to define, is it, mostly they just say, I am in control, I stop when I want, I don't drink on Mondays, I don't drink on, I've heard that statement so many times.
True.
And the question is still, are they in control?
No, that's one lie that we lie to ourselves. You see, there are 12 steps of recovery from any addiction. Step number 1 says, we admitted we were powerless and our lives had become unmanageable because a result of our addiction. Powerlessness and unmanageable. Powerlessness means I told myself I'm only taking 1 drink. You know how an alcoholic will walk into a club with 10,000, say that I'm only going to spend 1,000, the rest is for rent. They don't care. Then when you start drinking, you don't even know how that 10K was done, how maybe it was stolen, maybe you bought your friends or you drank it away. You see, the thing is we are powerless. And the point is, if you look at, there is something that alcohol is not digested like food. There is something which called oxidizing. It's taken into the liver and then it's converted to all this, you see. And the body can only oxidize 1 ounce of alcohol in a minute, in an hour. 1 ounce is 1 beer. But for an alcoholic, do you expect an alcoholic to take 1 beer in an hour? They have taken like 10, which means that's how people now start developing liver cirrhosis, because there is alcohol which has not been oxidized, you see. So the thing is, an alcoholic knows all this, but they will keep on drinking. I have seen somebody who came into rehab from a big company who paid for his rehab stay for the 3 months. He left, was promoted to an IT manager in the company, was paid 6 figures and good salary. But one day the CEO called for a meeting, he comes in drunk. That's powerlessness. That's powerlessness now. You know too well that you're going to lose a job and you have kids. You have a wife who depends on you, but you'll still drink. You're still drinking knowing that this thing is, you see, yesterday you lost your wife, not because she died, but because you 2 of you divorced. And you know very well you're supposed to stop drinking. You keep on drinking. Then again, you are powerless if you know very well, I lost a job. I need to be applying. I need to refresh my CV. But the thing I'm doing is drinking, thinking by tomorrow morning I'll be having a job. And you know, alcoholics have phrases, that it's in clubs where there are connections when you're drinking. How will these EABL people earn their money if I quit drinking? You see, those are thinkings of an addict. You see, and we will never be in control. And the moment you start thinking that you're in control, that's where you are messed up. The thing is, if you want to quit, you have to abstain from alcohol, from gambling for the rest of your life. Avoid that first drink. And like I said, 1 drink is 1,000 and 1,000 will never be enough. Yeah. Okay. So you can never be in control. Yeah.
So you're telling them that they're not in control?
Yeah. How? So actually, step number 2 says that we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. We have 2 powers. As an addict, you have 2 powers. When you are in addiction, there's a power which is greater than you. Alcohol, gambling, this. So if you are going to go in recovery, you have to have something which is more powerful than you. And in reality, it should be actually bigger than addiction. We don't force. When you come to rehab, we don't force anybody, God. We tell you to choose your higher power. Because addicts have gone into churches, they have been chased away. They have found people who are judging them. And then they feel like church is not the right place for me. And as an addict, like I said before, I will go into church thinking that church will take away my problems. Yeah. So if I find other alcoholics, I'll be like, so people that's why you see young people saying, me don't go to church. These people are pretenders. You know, these pastors eat our money. But in reality, if you're going to church, it's about an inner change. Stop trying to look for change from the outside. And that is insanity, which we have as addicts. We are insane. We look for change from the outside for things which are inside us. I am angry, I look for change from alcohol, which is outside me. There is no change which comes from the outside. It all comes from the inside. So the thing is, I will tell every other alcoholic out there, wherever you are not in control. Give it over to a higher power. It might be nature to you, it might be that tree. We don't judge anybody. Actually, in this program, we have two things: spirituality and religiosity. Spirituality is being through hell and back. Religiosity is fearing hell. For us, we are spiritual people. We have been through hell and back. We don't fear hell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do they identify that they, as much as they say it's only one, I only drink one on Wednesday, 2 on Friday, and I just smoke a cigarette per week. How do they identify that it is actually a problem? And how do they just start the recovery process?
Yeah, so what I can say for the cigarettes specifically, you find them being given into rehabs. Rehab cigarettes is I'm not justifying it, I don't use it. It's no more of an addiction, it's more of a habit. And a cocaine addict, to tell him that they have severe withdrawals. Anyway, when we come to alcohol and all these, any other drug, if you have been losing jobs, it's very rare to find somebody who is addicted to be having a job. If you are losing you have problem with relationships, with your health. Addiction affects some few areas. That's why addiction is a disease. Corona will affect you physically, emotionally, socially. You won't be able to be with friends because you are, similar to addiction. It affects you socially. Friends will start, they don't want to be around you. Physically, you don't eat, you're thinking about alcohol. Economically, all your money, you use it on addiction. So if you've been affected in all those areas, then you're an addict. It's so easy to identify you as an addict. You see? So many people come into rehab in denial. I'm not an addict. I can control it. I still have a job. You can still have a job, but tell us about your bank account. How did you use? You see, we are being told that you save this amount of money by the economists, but the bigger percentage of your money goes to alcohol. You have started even developing health problems as a result of your addiction. So with all these with all these traits, you start realizing that this person has a problem with alcoholism or with any other addiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this chance to talk to 3 different groups. Talk to this person who's struggling right now, who's still in denial, who's still defensive, who does not, the pain is too much, just think about it, and they'd rather go to whatever they're using to console themselves, be it substance, be it alcohol, be it gambling, just they're using them as scapegoats. And then while you're talking to them, also talk to their loved ones, those around them. You had mentioned about rejection, you had mentioned about judgment, you had mentioned about a lot of negativity. What would you tell them? And then also I heard you mention about the society and including the religious institutions. What would you also tell them? Yeah.
So I don't know where to start. Let me start with the addict, because this is now who I relate with too much. So I will have a few slogans that we have in recovery. Number 1, keep it a day at a time as an addict. Stop thinking about 100 years of being sober. Just think about today, I won't drink. Then even if you will keep it an hour at a time, a minute at a time, if I don't drink in an hour, there are people who have gotten to those extremes that they have to say an hour at a time. If I don't drink in this hour, I clap for myself. If it's during a day at a time, clap for yourself. Number 2, keep it easy. Stop thinking, if you're in recovery, stop thinking about opening, the thing about, addicts is that they want to solve all their issues at once. I lost jobs, I lost my relationship, I want to bring my relationship in a day. Because, you know, we have been trying to run for solutions which we thought would heal ourselves instantly. And when it comes to recovery, half measures will avail us nothing. Half measures will avail us nothing. Look, you were an addict for 10 years. Now you want to solve your issues in a day? You need to give the same energy you gave your addiction to your recovery. Don't give your recovery half measures. Keep it easy. Start with, you know, I'm going to do this today, tomorrow. Yeah? If it happens today that I fulfill whatever I had said, you see, and with time, you will realize that you're making improvements in your life. Number 3, as an addict, you need to also realize, fast things fast. Anything that goes against your recovery, you have to go, you have to bring it down. We tell these addicts, get into a relationship a year after coming out of rehab. Fast heal yourself, because you'll be emotionally unstable. If you get somebody in that relationship who fights you, who wants you to drink, you will still drink because you know it's love. You see, so a year will be okay because at least you'll be stable mentally. In all these aspects, you will actually be stable. So fast things fast. If you find yourself in a toxic job, which you might find yourself drinking, quit that job. Be so selfish to safeguard your recovery. Yeah. So the thing is, I can tell that addict, you know, you are not alone. There's so many other people who are struggling. Walk into meetings. Meetings make it. If you are in addiction, I always tell people, make it 90 meetings for the first 90 days. Every day you attend a meeting. Get a sponsor. A sponsor is somebody who is ahead of you in the program, who is 20 years sober. Then, if you have a divorce, get a sponsor. There are so many sponsors. If you want, you can contact me. I will find for you a sponsor, because I'm on all these groups for Alcoholics Anonymous, for the Gamblers Anonymous, for Narcotics Anonymous, for SETS, for food addiction. I will find you one. Somebody who is there for 20 years sober, 30 years sober. And the good thing is that you will be feeling like, today I want to drink. You just call your sponsor. And some of these people will even come to wherever you are and tell you, you know, this is what I did 20 years ago when I was still drinking, when I was still young in recovery like you. You see? So the thing is, attend meetings. For the first 90 days, make it a meeting each day. Find a sponsor. Take it easy. Don't then stop trying to solve all your issues in a day. You created these problems in 5 years, 10 years, and you want to solve them in a week or a month or 3 months in rehab. No, give it time. Yeah, give it time. Now to the family, it's so easy. Sometimes you have to apply tough love. Stop paying debts for these people. Don't let yourself face the consequences on behalf of the addict. Let the addict face the consequences. Again, it's good you show them love. Treat them as sick people. Take them to a rehab facilities. If there is no finance, sometimes you can be there for them. Take them into meetings. For the families, we have meetings for the families or for the people who are not addicted. We have Alcoholics Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous for the addicts. We have Gamanon and Al-Anon for the alcoholics, for the gamblers and alcoholics consecutively. Gamanon and Al-Anon. Again, if you want to be added into Gamanon or Al-Anon, you can contact me again because Gamanon, you don't get into these groups as an addict. You get to this group to understand, to be with other people who also have people who are addicts in their lives. So, for the society, let us continue improving these Gamanons. Let us continue bringing in messages, specifically for the Nakada. It needs to be active to keep on preaching the message of hope, specifically to the young people, and those of us even in the village who think that it's all here, the only thing here is good life. You know, you need to teach yourself early to come here, adapting yourself to this life, campus life, you know, and the stigmatization which is there when it comes to rehab facilities, specifically for the ladies. The ladies feel like rehab is for a men. But again, nowadays you will see that ladies are now coming out, going into rehabs. You know, they don't fear. You will find a rehab which has even 20 ladies. I mean, I love that, because we need to get to a point where rehab shouldn't be viewed it's like for mental ill people. No, it's for anybody who wants to bring a change into their lives. And actually, we were saying the other day, a span of 70 years, you have been told to only go for 3 months into rehab, to check into a rehab facility for 3 months, which is going to shape, maybe you have lived for 40 years, which is going now to shape 30 years of your life. You live free, because an addict is not free. You are not free because you will go into town with 10,000 and you don't know whether you'll come back with that amount of money. But for the normal person, they have money and they can even budget for it even 2 weeks to come. But for an addict, even an hour You just praise God that you still have money with you. So otherwise, I just wish every addict who is still struggling out there, involve the serenity player into your life. That God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can. And with that serenity, to change the only things you can change and to leave the rest to God, then and the wisdom to know the difference, then you will keep on moving. Otherwise, keep it a day at a time. Keep coming back because you're worth it sober. Work this program because you're worth it, because it only works if you work it. So those are very important words I said over there, and I wish every struggling addict out there and any family of an addict and the society which is still that we will be better in years to come. We will have a society which can sit down and talk about addiction without stigmatization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Welcome.
And thank you for allowing us into your life.
Yeah.
And especially thank you for teaching us the 12 steps.
Yeah, thank you.
You've heard Mark. He's shared, he's taught us. He's saying that the first step is agreeing that you have no control. It is way beyond your control. Whichever form of addiction it is, be it food, be it drugs, they're all addictions. My name is Lillian. See you next time.